Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the news podcast on TayNinhTV with some last events now private as well as nationwide. And now we come into details. Ladies and gentlemen, carrying out the voter contact until days after the ninth section of the 15th National Assembly, this morning of July the 7th, the delegates of the National Assembly delegation of TayNinh Province had a meeting with the voters in Long An Ward. Informing more than 200 voters attending the meeting, the deputy head of the National Assembly delegation of the province, Lê Thị Sông An, said that with a high sense of responsibility, the National Assembly delegates of the province actively participated in the 12 days at the meeting, contributing nearly 50 opinions in the discussion group and at the home. At the meeting, the voters highly appreciated the 12 days of the National Assembly delegation of the province and expressed their consensus when implementing the two-level local government model, giving opinions to the Provincial National Assembly delegation. Voters requested that delegates consider handling the use of junk SIM cards, advertising, and fraud on the Internet, the current student classification, and considering handling cases of stores that do not accept payment by bank transfer, which is contrary to the current policy of encouraging cashless payments. Representatives of the provincial functional sectors explained and clarified the voter recommendations. The Vice Chairman of the National Assembly Committee on Law and Justice, Hoàng Văn Liên, thanked and hoped to continue receiving synchronous coordination and responsible companionship from the party committee, authorities, and the Violent Front, the social-political organizations, and on voters so that the Provincial National Assembly delegation can successfully complete its assigned political task and promoting its role as a connecting between the party, the state, and the people.
On the afternoon of July 7, the National Assembly delegation of TayNinh Province had a meeting with nearly 300 voters of Bến Lức Khmer TayNinh Province. Attending the meeting, there was General Lieutenant General Lê Tấn Tới, member of the Party Central Committee, member of the National Assembly Standing Committee, chairman of the National Assembly's Committee on National Defense, Security and Foreign Affairs, vice chairman of the National Assembly's Committee on Law and Justice, Hoàng Văn Liên, deputy head of the National Assembly delegation of TayNinh Province, Lê Thị Sông An, Director of the Department of Justice of TayNinh Province, Phan Thị Mỹ Dung, Secretary of the Party Committee of Tân Lập Khmer TayNinh Province, Trần Quốc Quân, Deputy Director of the Center for Disease Control, Department of Health of TayNinh Province, Nguyễn Hoàng Uyên. At the meeting, after listening to the summary report, of the results of the night session of the 15th National Assembly and the activities of the delegation at the session, voters of Bến Lức Khmer made recommendations on issues related to compensation and site clearance, resettlements for people after planning, progress of social housing construction, right-ching canals, some recommendations related to traffic safety at Long Kim intersection, increasing allowance for forces participating in protecting security and order at the grassroots level. The opinions of voters were explained specifically and clearly by representatives of departments, ranchers, and local leaders. On behalf of the delegation, Senior Lieutenant General Lê Tấn Tới acknowledged and accepted the opinions of voters. The delegation will synthesize the opinions to submit the National Assembly in the next session.
And on the afternoon of July the 7th, the member of Provincial Party Standing Committee, Vice Chairman of Provincial People's Committee Nguyễn Hồng Thanh, had a working session with the Department of Industry and Trade on the situation of the industry and trade sector in the first 6 months of the year and direction and thoughts for the last 6 months of 2025. According to a report from Provincial Department of Industry and Trade, the industrial production index in the first 6 months of the year reached over 15%, exceeding the set plan. The total retail sales estimated at over 121,000 billion Vietnam dong, export turnover reached for about $7.6 billion, a significant increase compared to the same period, and the rate of household using electricity reached nearly 100%. Currently, TayNinh Province has planned for 82 industrial clusters with a total area of over 4,500 hectares, of which 22 industrial clusters are in operation, attracting 513 projects. At the meeting, the delegates focused on discussing, analyzing, and clarifying the limitations affecting industrial development in the province, as well as some thoughts in the fields of industry and trade in the coming time. The Vice Chairman of Principal People's Committee, Nguyễn Hồng Thanh, acknowledged the initiative of the department in the merger process and the initial stage of operating the new province. The Vice Chairman of Principal People's Committee emphasized the province has officially come into operation. The requirement is to focus on overcoming difficulties, stabilizing the organization, and promoting the implementation of common development goals. At the same time, he requested the Department of Industry and Trade to continue to build a united collective, closely coordinate with the sectors and localities, and maintain a spirit of unity to successfully complete the task.
On July 7, the Standing Committee of TayNinhTV Provincial Youth Union held a conference to announce the decision to establish the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province, to announce the decision to appoint the Secretary Committee, Standing Committee, Secretary, Deputy Secretary, Inspection Committee, Chairman and Deputy Chairman of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province. At the conference, the Standing Committee of TayNinhTV Provincial Youth Union announced the decision of the Central Youth Union on the establishment of Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province on the basis of merging the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of the former TayNinhTV Province and Long An Province. In addition, the Central Youth Union Secretariat appointed the temporary positions of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province. Specifically, the Secretary Committee of the Union consists of 32 members. The Standing Committee consists of 10 members, in which Mr. Trần Hải Phú holds the position of Secretary of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province. Mr. Phạm Văn Hậu holds the position of Deputy Secretary of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province. In addition, the Central Secretariat of the Youth Union also appointed the Inspection Committee of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province, consisting of 7 committees. Accordingly, Mr. Phạm Văn Hậu is the chairman. Mr. Lê Xuân Thịnh is the Deputy Chairman of the Inspection Committee of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union of TayNinhTV Province.
And ladies and gentlemen, along with the youth of the whole country this morning, union members and young people in TayNinhTV Province simultaneously launched a volunteer team to support the operation of the two-level local government model and provide online public services at the grassroots level. In Long An words, the activity attracted a large number of union members, bringing an exciting, responsible atmosphere and many practical supports to the people coming to do administrative procedures. Immediately after attending the online launch ceremony organized by the Central Youth Union, the Youth Union members of Long An would quickly arrive at the World Public Administration Service Center to get to work right away. And there were quite a lot of people there. The volunteer Youth Forum has supported from the stage of guiding to get a number, declare information, write TTVNEWS profiles to the process of submitting documents online via public services. Responding to the launching ceremony of the Youth Union to support online public services, the Youth Union of Long An World supported for 20 volunteer Youth Union members to go to the World Public Administration Service Center of Long An World to help the people carry out administrative procedures, to submit documents online, write VNEID profiles, and download applications in live, and thereby helping the new government apparatus operate more smoothly and stably. Not only it is the support and guidance, what the people feel most clearly is the friendly and dedicated service attitude of the union members and the youth. And with careful preparation before going out, the unions were trained in basic skills and operations to serve the people effectively and professionally. Today I came here to get land records, and when I entered the door, everyone's service was okay and very quick. I feel very satisfied with such service. Currently, I am supporting the people to carry out their pre-mortem procedures as well as extracting records and birth certificates. And before that, I was trained in their preparation and skills to serve the people and helping the two-level government serve more smoothly. And the campaign to support administrative procedures at the grassroots level not only brings convenience to the people in accessing public services, but also contributes to building the image of volunteer youth who are proactive, brave, and responsible to the community. And it is also one of the highlights of the 2025 Summer Volunteer Youth Campaign, contributing to building an open, transparent, modern, and more people-friendly administration. And in order to protect the ecosystem and respond to climate change, the environment is focusing on implementing many solutions for sustainable forest development and yields in 2025. According to the plan, the Yachting Protection Forest Management Board will plan more than 80 hectares of new protection forests, and currently forest owners are urgently reviewing land funds, completing the design documents, and forest planting estimates, and preparing seedlings for implementation. Along with that, the whole province will also take care of more than 1,146 hectares of protective and special yield forests. The first care of planted forests has been started by the forest owners, and in parallel with the forest development, the province continues to implement the measures to protect more than 66,760 hectares of existing forests, including more than 46,600 hectares of natural forests and 20,000 hectares of planted forests. And this area has been assigned to individuals and households for management. In addition, the area of natural tree generation promotion continues to be maintained with more than 250 hectares, contributing to sustainable forest restoration. And according to the information from the People's Committee of TayNinhTV Province, Japan is currently ranked the fourth among more than 40 countries and territories with investment projects in the province, with more than 160 projects with a total registered capital of over $1.2 billion.
The above results are due to the fact that, in recent times, the province has regularly promoted and successfully organized investment promotion programs in Japan. Japanese projects mainly focus on the fields of good production, mechanical engineering, machine manufacturing, electronic components, agricultural and aquatic products processing, animal feed and food production, etc. In addition to investment and business activities, Japan also actively supports localities in training and improving labor skills, especially cooperation programs to train engineers and interns for the Japanese market. Japanese enterprises operating in the area have proactively participated in many community activities, typically supporting healthcare and education for people in remote areas in the area. In the coming time, the Provincial People's Committee will continue to promote investment promotion activities and programs to expand cooperation with foreign enterprises, including Japan, in many potential areas such as technology transfer, green economic development, education training, cultural exchange.
And the interprovincial trips are not only a means of transporting passengers or goods, but also a socio-economic lifeline connecting the regions. And after the merger, the change in administrative boundaries has greatly affected the passenger transport industry. And therefore, passenger transport units proactively update information and have ways of operating so that passengers can easily find the trips that suit their needs. For transport units, the change in administrative boundaries is not just a trend on the map, but a big challenge that requires a quick and flexible adaptation. Although it does not affect the rules of interprovincial transport routes, the names of roads, stops, and stations in some places have changed. For example, for localities implementing the merger, the bus routes that were previously interprovincial are now intra-provincial. After the province merger, I found it quite confusing to name the bus stations and destinations also. For me and those around me, it is still unfamiliar and easy to confuse about calling these new names. And therefore, I hope that the transport units can unify the names of the bus station and pick up and drop off locations and announce the schedule on the new bus route so that the people can understand it more easily. And to meet the needs and grasp the situation in a timely manner, the transport units are planning to adjust to suit the actual situation, from adjusting the frequency, pick-up and drop-off points to suit the new needs. After province merger, there are also difficulties in picking up and dropping off and updating the customer information locations. However, Thao Kim Yang Company has also been proactive and flexible in updating and reviewing information to better meet the needs of the passengers. And at the same time, shuttle drivers are trying to fulfill their role in transferring passengers in neighboring areas. According to current specific conditions, there have been adjustments in the route, updating pickup point information to serve the better for the passengers. I rely on the area, mainly the street name, and I know the name of that street, which alley, which street, and that street name also, and can pick up and drop off passengers. The initial difficulties are undeniable, but on the industry and the fields are changed to aim at improving the efficiency and service quality, including the passenger transport services, and therefore the passenger transport businesses and enterprises are also adjusting to maintain competitive advantage and improve the quality of service to meet the passenger travel needs in the new situation. And on July 27, 2025, the Minister of Culture, Sport and Tourism signed decision number 2185, officially including TayNinhTV Festival of Khmer people living in TayNinh province in the list of national intangible cultural heritage under the category of the traditional festival, social custom and beliefs. For Khmer people, TayNinhTV is a New Year festival taking place around the mid-April of the solar calendar, and TayNinhTV Festival not only reflects the Khmer people's concept of the year circle, but also aims to educate the people about the filial piety, solidarity, and love for each other in the village. And it is also an opportunity to the people to meet, congratulate, and visit each other. In addition, TayNinhTV is also an occasion for Khmer people to express their wishes for the happiness, their sense of goodness, and their gratitude to their ancestors, grandparents, and their parents during the year. In TayNinh province, Khmer people often celebrate TayNinhTV for 3 days with many cultural, religious, and entertainment activities. And these activities include traditional rituals such as welcoming the Mahasakran calendar, offering rice, building sand mountains, and bathing Buddha statue, and praying for the dead. And in addition, there are also cultural and artistic activities such as performing arts and folk games. And on July 6th, the local time in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on the occasion of attending the BRICS Summit, the Prime Minister of Vietnam, Phạm Minh Chính, received the President of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, Chin Lee Kun.
Sharing about the situation and development policies of Vietnam, especially in infrastructure development, the Prime Minister proposed that AIIB continue to support Vietnam in mobilizing resources to implement major projects such as the Lào Cai-Hanoi Hải Phòng Center Gauge Railway, and at the same time provide free rental loans, focusing on major projects that have the meaning of turning the situation around, transferring technology and training human resources. Highly agreeing with the proposals of Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, AIIB President Chin Lee Kun affirmed that AIIB will continue to accompany and support Vietnam in mobilizing resources to develop key infrastructure, ensuring energy for the operation of high-speed railway lines.
And currently, the whole country has implemented a two-level local government with 34 provinces and cities nationwide, which also causes some subjects to be directly affected and have to be revised. The Ministry of Education and Training is also reviewing to adjust some content, ensuring the sustainability with the practical situation on the new school year. Missing Nguyễn Thị Thu's child will enter the grade 5 this year, and the textbook register with the school have been received. However, what worries her is that this year there are changes related to ministry boundaries, and especially in history, geography books, which have not been revised. The mother and daughter have also prepared some books, including the history geography subject, which is quite important because the provinces and cities across the country have been merged. But the textbooks are still on the map of those who provinces and cities, and she's quite worried about how to teach her children this time, because the children can still see them on the map. While waiting for specific instruction from Ministry of Education and Training as well as training for changes from publishers, the school and subject teachers are also trying to learn, research, and adjust to avoid implementation at the beginning of the next school year. And the Ministry of Education and Training has also identified a number of subjects that are directly affected by changes in administrative boundaries, including history and geography for grades 4, 5th, and 9th, and geography for the grade 12, history, economic education, and law for the grade 10. The subjects will take the step according to regulation to edit the subject material as a basis for editing textbooks. We will promptly process with the editing textbook, complete the draft of the revised textbooks and submit it to the Ministry of Education and Training for review and approval of the revised contents of the textbooks. And our editing principle is to update the required content, knowledge, place names, maps, charts, and social economics also. Textbooks specify the program content and are identified as important learning materials and documents for schools to choose to organize the teaching. In the 2025 to 2026 school year, the teachers and schools will continue to use the current program and textbooks while proactively selecting and adjusting teaching materials, lessons, and topics to suit the local realities and the two-level government model. And that's all for today, TTV News. Thank you for being with us, and goodbye for now.